The diplomatic vessel Resolute slowed as it approached Proxima Station. The massive ring-shaped structure hung in space like a giant metal halo. Hundreds of ships from across the galaxy docked at its ports. Ambassador John Carter stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. He took a deep breath. This was humanity's big moment. First official contact with the Galactic Council. "Nervous, sir?" Lieutenant Susan Miller asked, standing at attention beside him. "Cautious," Carter replied. "We're the new kids on the block, and new kids don't always get a warm welcome." Miller nodded. At 32, she was the youngest security officer ever assigned to a first contact mission. Her brown hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her eyes scanned the approaching station. "Proxima Station has granted us docking permission," the pilot announced. "Bay 47. Carter nodded. "Let's make history." The Resolute glided into the enormous docking bay. Through the viewports, they could see dozens of alien species moving about. Some walked on 2 legs, others on 4, and some floated through the air. Carter led his team of 12 humans through the airlock. The delegation included scientists, military officers, and diplomats. They had trained for this moment for years. A tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms greeted them. "Welcome to Proxima Station. I am Zul Tak, junior representative of the Council. Please follow me." The humans followed Zul Tak through wide corridors filled with strange sights and smells. Beings of all shapes and sizes moved aside, staring at the humans with curiosity and sometimes disgust. Miller leaned close to Carter. "They're looking at us like we're animals in a zoo." "Stay sharp," Carter whispered. "But remember, we're here to make friends." The council chamber was a massive room with 13 raised platforms arranged in a circle. 12 were occupied by different alien species. The 13th stood empty, meant for Earth, if they were accepted. The human delegation from Earth, Zul Tak announced before taking his place among the Vexari delegation. Thin, gray beings with large black eyes. The head counselor, a massive reptilian being named Gornvex, looked down at Carter. "Humans, you have achieved faster-than-light travel remarkably quickly for such a young species." "Thank you," Carter said. "We are eager to join the galactic community and share knowledge." Soft laughter rippled through the chamber. Miller felt her face grow hot with anger, but Carter remained calm. "Before we discuss membership," Gornvex continued, "you must understand your place. Earth will be classified as a protectorate world. You will receive guidance and protection from the Council." Carter frowned. "Protectorate? We came here as equals, not as children needing supervision." "Equals?" A Vexari counselor sneered. "Your species still fights wars over resources and territory. You have much to learn before claiming equality." For 3 hours, the Council outlined the terms of Earth's protectorate status. Humans would need permission to build new ships. Earth resources would be managed by Council representatives. Human military forces would be limited. As they took a break, Miller pulled Carter aside. "Sir, this isn't a diplomatic meeting. It's a colonization." Carter nodded grimly. "I noticed. And did you see how they treat the other protectorate representatives? Like servants. What do we do?" Carter thought for a moment. "We play along. For now. I want you and Wright to access their data networks. Find out what they're really after." That night, while most of the delegation slept, Miller and communications specialist Alan Wright worked in secret. Wright's fingers flew across his tablet, breaking through security layers. "Got something," Wright whispered. "Internal communications between council members." Miller leaned over his shoulder. Her eyes widened as she read. "Get the ambassador," she said. "Now." Carter arrived moments later, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "This better be good." Wright handed him the tablet. "It's not good, sir. It's bad. Very bad." Carter read the messages. His face grew pale. "They've done this before. To 12 other worlds." The messages detailed how the Council had declared other planets as protectorates, slowly stripped them of resources, and left them dependent and impoverished. "There's more," Miller said. "They've been watching Earth for over a century. They're afraid of us." "Afraid? Why?" "They call us dangerously adaptive. They think if we're allowed to develop freely, we might surpass them within a few generations." Carter's expression hardened. "So their plan is to clip our wings before we learn to fly." "What do we do, sir?" Wright asked. Carter looked at the council chamber through the window of their quarters. "We gather evidence, all of it, and then we show them why humans are dangerous when cornered." For the next 3 days, the human team worked in secret. They smiled during council meetings, pretended to consider the unfair treaty, and played their roles perfectly. But at night, they hunted for information. Alan Wright hadn't slept more than 4 hours since they discovered the council's true plans. His eyes were red, and coffee cups littered his workstation. But he smiled as Carter and Miller entered his room. "I cracked their secure channel," Wright said. "You won't believe what they say about us when they think we can't hear." He played a recording. The voice belonged to Gornvex, the head counselor. "The humans must be contained. Their adaptability is dangerous. Within a century, they could challenge even the Vexari. We will drain their resources slowly, guide their development into harmless paths." Carter's face remained calm, but his hands curled into fists. "Keep digging, Wright. I want everything." In another part of their quarters, Science Officer Lisa Brown worked with samples she had secretly collected. She was short with curly blonde hair and moved with quick, precise motions. "Ambassador," she called when Carter walked past her door. "I found something odd in the station's water system." She showed him data on her screen. "These are nanobots. Billions of them. They're in the air too, monitoring everything. The Council has been watching Earth for at least 300 years. 300 years? Miller asked, stepping into the room. "That's before we even had electricity." Brown nodded. "They've been guiding our development. Little pushes here and there, slowing us down when we got too advanced too quickly." Carter rubbed his chin. "So that's why they're worried. Despite their interference, we still developed faster than they expected." In the corner of their quarters, Security Officer Peter Davis had built a small device from parts he smuggled from Earth. He was a large man with a quiet voice. His device projected a 3D map of nearby space. "Look here," Davis said, pointing to red dots surrounding Earth's solar system. "Council military positions. They have us surrounded. If Earth refuses protectorate status, they're ready to force our hand." Carter studied the map. "How many ships?" "Enough to blockade Earth. Not enough to invade, but they could cut us off from space travel." Carter assembled the full human team that evening. Each member shared what they had discovered. "The Council has done this before," Wright explained to everyone. 12 worlds are currently protectorates. All were once promising species. Now they're resource farms. Their people work in council mines and factories. Brown brought up images of these worlds. These planets were green and thriving a century ago. Now they're stripped bare. The mood in the room grew dark. These weren't just aliens they were dealing with. These were colonizers hiding behind fancy words. A soft knock at their door silenced everyone. Miller drew her hidden weapon. Carter nodded, and Davis opened the door. Zultak, the blue-skinned junior representative, stood there, alone. "May I enter?" he asked quietly. Carter waved him in. The team watched him carefully. "I know what you're discovering," Zultak said, "and I want to help you." Miller laughed. "Help us become slaves to your council." "No thanks." Zultak shook his head. "No, help you avoid our fate." He pulled up his sleeve, revealing a metallic implant in his arm. "All protected species are fitted with these after a few decades. They monitor us, control us if necessary." Carter studied the alien. "Why would you help us?" "Because you're different. Other species submitted easily, but you question everything. Perhaps you can do what we could not." He handed Carter a small data crystal. The Council fears you because humans are unique in the galaxy. When you face hardship, you become stronger. When you face a puzzle, you solve it in ways no one expects. And when you face enemies, we don't back down, Carter finished. Zultak nodded. The data crystal contains access codes to the full Council archives. Use it wisely. He turned to leave, then stopped. The Council meets tomorrow to finalize your protectorate status. They expect you to sign without reading the full document. After he left, Carter turned to his team. We have one night to build our case. Let's make it count. Wright held up the crystal. With this, we can see everything they don't want us to see. And then, Miller asked. Carter's eyes narrowed. Then we show them humans don't make good slaves. The next morning, the human delegation entered the Council chamber with new purpose. Carter walked tall, his face giving away nothing. Behind him, Miller and the others carried tablets filled with evidence. The Council members looked down from their high seats. Gornvex's reptilian face showed a hint of a smile. Ambassador Carter, he said, we trust you have reviewed the Protectorate Agreement and are ready to sign. Carter stepped forward. The room fell silent. We have reviewed your offer, he said calmly. Earth rejects Protectorate status. Whispers filled the chamber. Gornvex's smile disappeared. Perhaps you do not understand the benefits, he began. We understand perfectly, Carter interrupted. We understand that you've done this to 12 other worlds. We understand that you strip Protectorate planets of resources and turn their people into workers. He nodded to Wright, who sent images to the large screens around the chamber. They showed once beautiful planets now covered in mines and factories. We understand that you've been watching Earth for centuries, slowing our progress when it suited you. Brown sent more images to the screens. Data showing Galactic Council ships visiting Earth as far back as 1700. And we understand that you have military forces positioned to blockade our solar system if we refuse. Davis projected his map showing Council ships surrounding Earth's system. The Council chamber erupted in angry shouts. Gornvex slammed his hand down. How dare you spy on Council operations? This proves humans are too dangerous to be trusted. Carter remained calm. We didn't spy. You did. We merely found what you left behind. A new voice cut through the noise. Is this true, Gornvex? The voice belonged to Xandor, a tall, thin alien with pale skin. His species, the Linturi, was known for their sense of justice. Before Gornvex could answer, the chamber doors opened. A woman in an Earth military uniform walked in, followed by 4 officers. Her gray hair was cut short, and her uniform displayed admiral stars. Admiral Helen Ford, Earth Defense Force, she announced. I bring a message from Earth's government. Carter stepped aside, giving her the floor. The Council members stared in shock. Earth has reviewed the evidence gathered by Ambassador Carter's team, Ford said. We are aware of your military positions near our system. We are aware of your intentions. She walked to the center of the chamber, looking each Council member in the eye. Earth will not be a protectorate. Earth demands recognition as an equal member of the galactic community, and Earth will not be threatened. Xandor handed Carter a data device. 3 other Council members secretly agree with me. With your evidence and our support, we can force change. Carter studied the alien's face, looking for deception. He found none. What do you propose? He asked. An alliance, Xandor said. Not based on domination, but true cooperation. It will not be easy, but... A loud alarm cut through the air. They heard shouting from the main chamber. It seems, Xandor said with a grim smile, that your admiral has caused quite a stir. Carter nodded. Good. Sometimes you need to shake the tree to see what. Carter and Xandor hurried back to the main chamber. Inside, Admiral Ford stood firm as Council members shouted over each other. Some demanded human arrest. Others called for calm. What happened? Carter asked Miller. Ford showed them proof that Earth ships have been mapping all Council military bases for the past month, Miller said with a small smile. They didn't take it well. Gornvex pounded his fist for order. The room gradually quieted. This behavior proves humans are too dangerous for full membership, he hissed. You will accept protectorate status or face consequences. Before Carter could respond, the chamber doors opened again. A short, gray-haired man in a simple black suit walked in. Everyone on the human team straightened their posture immediately. Kevin Grant, Chief Diplomat of Earth, he announced. His voice was soft, but carried throughout the room. Ford nodded respectfully. Sir, I didn't expect you here. The situation required my presence, Grant said. He turned to the council. I come with a proposal. Carter watched with interest. Grant was Earth's best negotiator. His calm manner hid a brilliant tactical mind. While you've been threatening Earth, we've been talking to other worlds, Grant explained, particularly your so-called protectorates. He activated a communication screen. 3 alien faces appeared, representatives from different protectorate worlds. These worlds have suffered under your control, Grant said. They've watched their resources vanish and their people struggle. They've been waiting for someone to stand up to you. Gornvex's face darkened with rage. This is interference in council matters. This is diplomacy, Grant corrected. Something you've replaced with intimidation. A thin, insect-like alien with gleaming eyes stepped forward from the Vexari section. The human must be silenced. He reached inside his robe. But before he could pull out a weapon, Miller moved. She tackled Grant to the floor as an energy blast hit the wall behind them. Chaos erupted. Security forces rushed in. The human team drew hidden weapons. Admiral Ford's officers formed a protective circle. Stop! Xandor shouted, his voice cutting through the noise. The Vexari just attempted assassination in the council chamber. This violates our most sacred laws. The security forces hesitated, then turned toward the Vexari representative, who hissed in anger. The humans threaten everything we've built, the Vexari said. Our dominance must be maintained. His words hung in the air. He had admitted what the council had tried to hide. Their goal was dominance, not cooperation. Grant stood, brushing off his suit. He seemed completely unfazed by the assassination attempt. As I was saying, he continued calmly, Earth proposes a new alliance structure, one based on equality, not domination. He shared details of his plan, fair trade agreements, cultural exchanges, shared defense, and resource protection. As he spoke, Carter noticed some council members listening with interest. Others, particularly the Vexari, seemed furious. We have ships ready to assist any world that wishes to join this new alliance, Grant finished. You are not trapped under council control. This is rebellion, Gornvex sputtered. This is freedom, Grant corrected, something humans value above all else. Later that day, in a private room, the human team met with representatives from 7 protectorate worlds. They sat around a circular table, all at the same height, all treated as equals. The council has controlled us for too long, said a blue-skinned representative, but we fear their military power. That's why we've been documenting their bases, Carter explained. Their military is strong but spread thin. Together, we can protect each other. Can Earth really stand against the Council? Asked another alien with 4 arms. Admiral Ford nodded. We have ships positioned throughout this sector. We've also developed weapons that can neutralize Council shields. Grant spread a digital map on the table. We need to move quickly. The Council is likely mobilizing right now. A small furry alien with large eyes leaned forward. My people were the first to become a protectorate. We have suffered the longest. We will join you. One by one, each representative agreed. Some hesitantly, some eagerly. Miller leaned close to Carter. This is bigger than we expected. We came for membership and might end up starting a revolution. Carter nodded. The Council gave us no choice. They wanted to make us slaves. Instead, they created their worst nightmare. And what's that? Miller asked. Humans with a cause, Carter replied. watching Grant coordinate with their new allies. And we've never lost when fighting for freedom. News of the human alliance spread through Proxima Station like wildfire. Aliens from all species whispered in corners. Some looked at humans with new respect, others with fear. The council called an emergency session the next day. This time, the human delegation arrived with representatives from their new allies. They no longer came as supplicants, but as equals. The council chamber felt different. The air was thick with tension. Council members argued quietly among themselves before the session began. Gornvex called for order. His voice lacked its usual confidence. This emergency session will address the human interference in council affairs, he announced. Sandor stood up from his council seat. I call for a different agenda. We should discuss council interference in developing worlds. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. A council member challenging the agenda was rare. Do you support this rebellion, Sandor? Gornvex asked, his voice dangerous. I support truth, Sandor replied. For too long, the council has exploited worlds instead of helping them. I call for a vote on human membership as equals, not as protectorates. The Vexari representative hissed. The Linteri forget their place. Without council protection, your world would be defenseless. Perhaps, Sandor said, or perhaps you simply want us to believe that. Grant stepped forward. We request a formal vote on Earth's status. By the council's own laws, you must hold this vote. Gornvex looked like he wanted to refuse, but too many eyes were watching. Very well. The council will vote on Earth's petition for equal membership. One by one, council members cast their votes. 3 voted in favor of human equality. 5 voted against. 4 abstained. Gornvex smiled coldly. The vote is clear. Earth will be classified as a protectorate or nothing at all. There is another option, Grant said calmly. Nothing at all. The room fell silent. Earth withdraws all requests for council membership. We will form our own diplomatic relationships with willing worlds. Gornvex's smile vanished. You cannot operate in council space without permission. Watch us, Admiral Ford said, stepping forward. Your council has no legal right to restrict free worlds. This is unprecedented, a council member shouted. This is treason, yelled another. Gornvex raised his hands for silence. As council chair, I invoke emergency powers. All human ships will be detained. All human personnel will remain on Proxima Station pending review. Sandor stood again. Emergency powers can only be invoked for external threats, not diplomatic disagreements. This action violates our charter. 2 other council members stood with him. We agree, they said together. The council was fracturing before everyone's eyes. Gornvex looked shocked, then angry. This meeting is suspended until order is restored. As he left, many representatives broke into smaller groups, arguing loudly. Some followed the human delegation, asking questions about Earth's alternative alliance. In the corridor outside, Carter found Sandor waiting. You risked much today, Carter said. Sandor nodded. For centuries, the council has drifted from its original purpose. Your people reminded us of what we once stood for. What happens now? Carter asked. Civil war, perhaps, Sandor said gravely. Or rebirth. The council has never faced this kind of challenge. Back in the human quarters, Grant addressed the team and their new allies. We've thrown the council into chaos, he said. But chaos creates opportunity. Each of you should contact your worlds. Tell them they have a choice now. A small representative from a world called Nibis raised a tentacle. The council will send forces to control our worlds. Earth ships are already moving to protect your systems, Ford assured them. Any council aggression will be met with resistance. As the aliens left to contact their homeworlds, Carter turned to Grant. Did we just end galactic diplomacy? Grant smiled slightly. We ended their version of diplomacy, one based on power and control. Now we create our own, based on mutual respect. Outside their window, they could see ships leaving Proxima Station. Council members were retreating to their homeworlds. Others were sending urgent messages. Carter watched as a Vexari ship pulled away, its engines glowing bright. "The Vexari won't accept this," Miller said, standing beside him. "No," Carter agreed. "This is just the beginning. But that's what humans do best. Begin things. New technologies. New ideas." He smiled. New galactic orders. Alarms began to sound throughout the station. "What now?" Ford asked, checking her communicator. Wright looked up from his console. "Council military vessels are mobilizing, and there's a message being broadcast to all systems. It says Earth and its allies are enemies of galactic peace." Grant nodded, unsurprised. "And so it begins. The Council chose force over reason." Carter looked around at his team. "We offered them diplomacy. They chose conflict. Let's show them why that was a mistake." Within hours, Proxima Station became a hub of frantic activity. Many species were leaving, fearing what would come next. Council security forces patrolled the corridors, watching the human delegation closely. Admiral Ford received an urgent message from Earth. She gathered the team in their quarters, making sure no listening devices were active. "Earth has revealed our full military capabilities," she announced. "The Council thought we had a small fleet of basic ships. We just showed them the rest." She displayed images of Earth vessels emerging from hidden locations throughout the solar system. The ships were sleek, powerful, and far more advanced than what the Council had seen before. "We kept these hidden," Ford explained. "We suspected the Council might not welcome us with open arms." Carter nodded. "Smart move. How did they react?" 3 Council worlds have declared neutrality. They want no part in a conflict with Earth." Grant smiled slightly. "Fear can be useful in diplomacy, when used carefully." Wright rushed into the room, his face excited. "You need to see this. Captain Donna White just led a precision strike against a Council military outpost near Nevis. He showed footage of Earth ships disabling, not destroying, a Council base. The weapons shut down the base's systems without causing deaths." "Impressive," Miller said. "We showed restraint, but also strength." "The Council is in emergency session again," Wright continued. "They're divided on how to respond." Grant nodded. "Now is the time to press our advantage. We need to address all worlds directly, not just through Council channels." For the next several hours, the human team worked with their allied species. They crafted a message that would go to every world in Council space. Carter recorded the introduction. "To all free peoples of the galaxy. For too long, the Council has ruled through control rather than cooperation. Earth rejects this model. We offer an alternative, the Earth Accord. Membership is open to all who seek true partnership." The message included evidence of Council exploitation of protectorate worlds. It showed the true resources taken and where they went. It revealed secret Council decisions that had never been made public. "This is a declaration of information war," Miller said as they prepared to broadcast. "Information should be free," Carter replied. "Secrets protect the powerful, not the people." Grant nodded. "Send it." With the press of a button, the message shot across Council space. Millions of beings on hundreds of worlds saw the truth for the first time. The reaction was immediate. Council representatives demanded emergency meetings with their governments. Protectorate worlds began asking questions their rulers couldn't answer. Several mid-tier worlds that had been neutral opened communications with Earth. Sandor visited the human quarters that evening. His face showed both worry and hope. "You've changed everything in just 5 days," he said to Carter. "The Council that has stood for 2,000 years is crumbling." "Was it ever worthy of standing?" Carter asked. Sandor looked thoughtful. "Perhaps not. It began with noble goals, but power corrupts over time." Ford joined them, bringing news from Earth's fleet. 7 Council military vessels attempted to enter Nevis space. Our ships intercepted them. "Casualties?" Carter asked quickly. "None. We disabled their engines and left life support running. Then we towed them back to Council space. Sandor looked surprised. You showed mercy. We're not here to kill, Ford said firmly. We're here to change a broken system. In another part of the station, Grant met with representatives from 17 worlds. Some were former protectorates. Others were mid-tier worlds tired of Council control. The Earth Accord has simple principles, Grant explained. Equal representation, fair trade, mutual defense, resource sovereignty, and if the Council attacks those who join, ask a representative. Earth will defend you, Grant promised, not as your protector, but as your ally. The meeting ended with 12 worlds signing the preliminary agreement. Many others promised to consult their governments. Back on the Resolute, Carter looked out at the stars. Miller joined him. Did you ever imagine our diplomatic mission would end up like this? She asked. Carter shook his head. We came looking for friends. We found victims who needed help. And enemies who needed a lesson, Miller added. The Council still has powerful forces, Carter said. This isn't over. No, Miller agreed. But for the first time in centuries, the galaxy has a choice. That's what humans really brought them. Not just ships and weapons, but options. Carter smiled. Freedom to choose. The most powerful force in any universe. 2 weeks passed. The galaxy had changed more in those 14 days than in the previous century. The human delegation had moved their base of operations to the Resolute, which now orbited a neutral trading world called Callus. Carter stood in the ship's meeting room, surrounded by screens showing news from across the galaxy. Some reported chaos. Others celebrated freedom. The Council is formally splitting, Wright announced, entering the room with fresh data. 3 factions have formed. The Vexeri lead the hardliners who want to crush us. Sandor leads the reformers who want to rebuild the Council as an equal partnership. The rest are staying neutral. Grant nodded, studying the information. And what of our Earth Accord? 7 more worlds joined yesterday, Miller reported. That makes 19 total. The Council tried economic sanctions against our allies, Wright added. But it backfired. Too many worlds trade with us now. They can't enforce it. Carter turned as the door opened. A tall human with sandy hair walked in. Ryan Shepard, Earth's new head of interstellar relations, had arrived the previous day. I just finished talks with the Nebusian delegation, Shepard said. They've offered their central space station as headquarters for our alliance. Good, Grant replied. We need a permanent base that isn't on a ship. Ford, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. 3 Council military vessels entered Earth space 6 hours ago. Our defense fleet intercepted them. The room grew tense. Hostilities? Carter asked. Ford shook her head. They retreated when confronted. A show of force, nothing more. They're testing our resolve. Shepard spread a digital map on the main table. We need to establish secure trade routes between our allied worlds. The Council still controls most of the major lanes. I have something that might help, said a new voice. Everyone turned to see a woman with short red hair enter. Nancy Clark was Earth's leading scientist on hyperspace technology. We've developed faster hyperspace travel, Clark explained, joining them at the table. 30% quicker than Council ships. And our new navigation system can plot routes the Council doesn't know about or monitor. Carter smiled. That changes everything. We can connect our allies without using Council-controlled routes. Clark nodded. Exactly. I've already shared the technology with our Earth Accord partners. Their ships are being upgraded now. The meeting continued for another hour, with plans being made for defense, trade, and expansion. When it ended, Carter found himself alone with Grant. How did we get here? Carter asked, looking at the map showing Earth Accord worlds in green, Council worlds in red, and neutral worlds in yellow. We came for membership in their club. Now we're building our own. Grant sat down heavily. He looked tired but satisfied. The Council made a fundamental mistake. They saw our willingness to talk as weakness. They didn't understand that humans offer peace not from fear, but from preference. "And when peace isn't an option?" Carter asked. "Then we fight, but our way, with restraint when possible and overwhelming force when necessary." Clark returned, excitement on her face. "You need to see this." She activated a screen showing a council meeting. This was broadcast publicly. They never do that. They watched as Sandor addressed the reduced council. Many seats were empty now. "The human approach has proven superior," Sandor was saying. "They offered genuine partnership while we demanded submission. Is it any wonder they gain allies daily while we lose them?" A Vexeri counselor hissed in anger. "They destroyed centuries of order. They exposed centuries of exploitation," Sandor corrected. "And they did so without firing a single kill shot. They disabled our ships but left our people alive. They offered terms instead of threats." The debate continued, growing heated. Finally, 3 more council members stood and walked out, announcing they would seek membership in the Earth Accord. Grant watched with raised eyebrows. "That's unexpected." "Not really," Carter said. "They see which way the galactic wind is blowing." Later that day, Carter received a private message from Sandor. "What you began cannot be stopped now. The old council will not survive. Your doctrine of verifiable trust, but prepared defense spreads like fire among long-suppressed worlds. We once feared humans would bring war. Instead, you brought something more powerful: hope." Carter shared the message with Miller as they watched ships coming and going from Callus. Trade was booming now that council restrictions were lifted. "We ended their diplomacy," Miller said, "but created something better." Carter nodded. "Human diplomacy, based on choice, not control." 5 years passed. The galaxy had transformed. The Earth Accord, once a desperate alliance of 19 worlds, now included 23 species. They had built a new headquarters on a beautiful moon orbiting the planet Teleris. Today was special. The first Galactic Congress was meeting. Not a council of elite worlds looking down on others, but a true Congress where all members had equal voice. John Carter, now Secretary of Interstellar Affairs for Earth, straightened his formal uniform as he prepared to address the gathering. At his side stood Susan Miller, no longer a lieutenant, but a respected diplomat herself. "Nervous?" she asked with a smile. "A little," Carter admitted. 5 years ago, we were just trying to get a fair deal for Earth. Now we're reshaping galactic politics." The Great Hall was filled with representatives from all 23 worlds. Each sat at the same level. Each had the same voting power. Behind them stood the flags of their worlds, with Earth's blue and white banner just one among many. At the center of the hall was a circular platform where speakers could address the Congress. Carter stepped onto it, looking at the hundreds of faces, human and alien, watching him. 5 years ago, he began, Earth came seeking friendship in the stars. We found a system that confused control with cooperation. When we refused to be controlled, conflict seemed inevitable. He paused, looking around the room. But humans have always believed there is a better way than war. We built this Congress on that belief, that different worlds can work together as equals. That strength comes from cooperation, not domination. The hall was silent, all eyes on him. Today, we formalize what began in crisis. The Earth Accord becomes the Galactic Congress. No longer will any world stand above others. No longer will resources be taken without fair payment. No longer will developing worlds fear discovery by spacefaring neighbors. From his position, Carter could see Sandor, who had left the old council to join the Earth Accord. Beside him sat representatives from former protectorate worlds, now thriving under fair trade agreements. "The old council has reformed," Carter continued. "They now govern 7 worlds that chose to remain with them. We respect their choice. We trade with them fairly. We maintain peaceful relations." This was perhaps the most surprising outcome. After years of tension, the remnant of the council had finally accepted the new reality. They had reformed their own structure, inspired by the success of the Earth model. Our Congress stands for 3 principles, Carter said, raising his fingers one by one. Equal representation for all member worlds. Mutual defense against aggression. Fair trade that respects resource sovereignty. He lowered his hand and smiled. Simple ideas, yet they have changed the galaxy. As Carter finished his speech, something unexpected happened. An elderly reptilian alien approached the platform. It was Gorn Vex, once head of the Galactic Council, now representing the reformed Council worlds. The hall tensed. This was not planned. Gorn Vex stood before Carter and bowed his head. On behalf of the reformed Council, I offer apology. We were wrong to treat Earth as less. We were wrong to exploit worlds in our care. A murmur ran through the hall. No one had expected this. Humans taught us a hard lesson, Gorn Vex continued. Power without wisdom leads to downfall. Control without consent cannot last. Carter bowed in return. Apology accepted. The past is behind us. We look to the future, one we will build together, as equals. The hall erupted in applause. Representatives from worlds that had suffered under Council rule were especially loud in their approval. Later, Carter and Miller stood on a balcony overlooking the Congress building. The twin moons of Teleris cast silver light over the landscape. We did it, Miller said, watching ships from different worlds coming and going peacefully. When we left Earth, did you ever imagine this? Carter shook his head. I hoped for membership in their club. Instead, we created something better. You know what's funny? Miller said. The Council accused us of ending diplomacy, but we didn't end it. No, Carter agreed with a smile. We fixed it. In the distance, Earth ships flew alongside vessels from former Council worlds. Former enemies now trading partners. Former rulers now equals. Humans are good at breaking things, Carter said, watching the ships. But we're even better at building them back up, stronger than before. Miller nodded. That's our real strength, not our ships or weapons. No, Carter agreed. Our real strength is that we never stop believing things can be better. And throughout the galaxy, for the first time in thousands of years, they truly were.